when Bitcoin starts to go really exponential, like it's going from 1 to 2 million to 3 million, then I think people are going to question, what exactly am I selling the Bitcoin for? Why am I selling it for the dollars that the government is spending to buy Bitcoin? Everyone thinks that they're really clever and, I'll buy when it's cheap. But psychologically, if you're new to Bitcoin, you won't. And realistically, you're not going to be smart enough to catch the dip or be around to buy the dip too. So there's like two things going against you right off the bat. That's why I think doing a lump sum buy is probably better. And yeah, maybe it'll go down 10%, 20%, but if you can't stomach 10, 20% drawdowns holding an asset that's going to replace everything, then you probably don't deserve it.
Don't let market volatility scare you. According to Samson Mao, CEO of Jan3, staying the course with Bitcoin is the secret to achieving life-changing gains. Many investors fall into the trap of waiting for the perfect moment to buy during a dip, but Mao warns that this approach often backfires. Recognizing the ideal dip, or having the courage to act on it, is much harder than it seems. Instead, Mao advocates for lump sum investing. Even if Bitcoin experiences a short-term drop of 10 to 20% after you buy, what truly matters is its long-term potential. Mao is confident that Bitcoin will eventually replace traditional assets, and losing faith during temporary downturns could mean missing out on its incredible future. Stay tuned until the end of the video for more valuable insights from Samson Mao on why Bitcoin's properties make it a game changer. Also, if you enjoy listening to crypto-related content, please show your support by liking and subscribing to this channel by following the link in my bio. And get access to my free daily crypto updates and expert predictions direct to your inbox. Each newsletter contains market intelligence, on-chain data and latest updates from experts in the crypto space. All of this is available completely free of charge. Signing up only takes a moment and you can always change your mind later on. Now back over to Samson Mo.
I think Saylor was able to get to his target 1% and beyond because he started in a bear market, right? He started when the price was low. Now the price is at 0.1. Bitcoin can easily 10x, and we've done 10, 17x before too. And with the nation states buying with unlimited bullets, they can really quickly bid this up very quickly. So the question is how fast they can move is one dimension of it. If they can go quickly, maybe there's a chance. But I think as soon as they start to buy in numbers, like serious buys, like buying 100,000 coins, reaching that 100,000 target, I think we're going to start to see Bitcoin shoot up very rapidly to maybe 5 million a coin. People don't want bad money. Like they'll realize quickly, like, okay, my neighbor is not accepting it, or the corner store is not accepting the fiat anymore, and they'll quickly realize that they should start buying in Bitcoin. And at a certain point at which that happens, people just start pricing it in Satoshis. Like we already have the Lightning Network transactions mostly priced in Satoshis, right? People are using sats as the unit of account for Lightning, and it's been like that for years. So that's just going to accelerate, and I think it makes sense. Like if you divide 2.1 quadrillion sats amongst the 8 billion people in the world, you end up with a number like 259,259 sats per person.
Yeah.
And we know that's not possible to achieve because the ETFs hold a massive amount, MicroStrategy holds a massive amount, and there's hodlers. So what is the real number? Probably closer to like somewhere in the 10,000 to 50,000 sat range. And if you look at purchasing power of the dollar going back 100 years, that's kind of roughly right. You paid, I think maybe in the 60s and 70s, you'd pay 15 cents for a burger. So maybe you'll pay 15 sats for a burger, but I think maybe lower. It might be like, 2 sats or something like that. But that kind of number scale seems to make sense if you go back to that 1960s earning and wages. You make 1,000 sats a month, and in a year you make 12,000. House maybe costs 2 years of your wage, so it's 24,000 sats. But these kind of scales probably make sense, and we'll probably need to go to sub-sat denominations like sat cents. Like 100 of these sat cents makes 1 sat.
Do you think it's possible that one Bitcoin could be worth 164 million US dollars to buy the next 8 years?
I would say theoretically yes, but practically no, because there's
No.
there's a point at which it just cuts off and you stop denominating things in dollars, right? It just makes no sense anymore. Like, does anyone care what the exchange rate of the euro is to Deutschmark? Not really. So you just go to sats at some point. I would say probably in the million range, it just starts to drop off and people just start using sats. And then we just have deflation from that point. There's a lot of repricing that has to be done.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it happens, but generally these things happen very quickly. The expectation, I think, of a lot of people, including Bitcoiners and some Bitcoin bulls, is that it's going to happen over like a 20, 30 year period. But if you look at the collapse of currencies, they happen very rapidly and it's typically very chaotic. So we'll see how it goes, but this is sort of why I think it's important that we do outreach and we try to get parallel systems into place where countries can have both currencies at the same time, Bitcoin and their native currency, and transition as gradually as possible. But I would say Max Payne theory dictates that it's going to happen very quickly and chaotically, and no one's ready for it except for you and me and a couple of grok. So, you go tell them it's a pyramid scheme, or you go tell them it's a scam. Like, it's the largest asset manager on the planet. Like, what more certainty do you need that it's a legitimate asset class? I don't know. If that doesn't convince you, nothing can. But I mean, other criticisms, it's generally more like we don't need it, or we think we're fine. That's the general sentiment. They just don't think it's one, going to become money, and two, they don't see any problems, even though from the outside looking in, we can see problems in the country there, and they probably need Bitcoin. But generally they think it's fine, and maybe that's a symptom of the disconnect of governments and the people, right? Like in Canada, we have a lot of societal problems, which I think you're aware of, and economic problems. But I forgot when I saw some campaign from the Green Party, and they're saying, we're going to fix the climate. And it's like, that's your top priority? Really? Like, there's a drug, there's a major drug endemic here. And, people are ODing and just high out of their minds on the streets, and there's massive amount of crime, and you think that's number one, huh? I like to have hope, and I think there is a chance that the Trump administration could fix things, but it takes very radical thinking, like disregarding the shitcoin. Let's say the Doge initiative in and of itself is to downsize government and cut spending. I think it's a good thing. Whether or not that will stimmy the debt growth and fill the hole is a separate issue. I don't think it will, but at least they'll be on a better track. And if they do switch over to Bitcoin, there is a chance that there's hope. If they don't do something significant in Bitcoin, I don't think there's much hope. So we'll see. It's difficult because nobody wants change, right? Everyone has their own interests, and doing something like Bitcoin is even harder because you're fighting against entrenched perceptions on Bitcoin and just general ignorance about the necessity of Bitcoin or even money. The biggest downstream impact that Bitcoin can have is it restores our ability to be sovereign individuals. Mm-hmm. That's largely been taken away from us because centralization is convenient, and centralization of money supply and money management is definitely a huge convenience. But now we have this decentralized system that offers the same thing. So you can keep your money yourself and transact it yourself without an intermediary. And that changes the entire dynamic. I think it has an impact on the ability for countries to wage war as well. I strongly think that most people don't want war. People just want to build their families and see their children grow up happy. Nobody wants their kids to go die in a war. That's largely from government's brainwashing or forcing them to send their kids to war, right? But generally, if you ask someone, like, do you want your kids to go die somewhere else? They say no. And there might be good reasons, like protecting your borders from an attack or an invader. and you need to defend. But generally, like, a lot of wars are quite frivolous these days. Like, we think that guy's bad, or he's got something bad, and we're going to go there, right? I think Bitcoin will start to change that dynamic, that you can't finance a war because nobody will willingly give up their money to finance a war where their kids are going to have to go die somewhere. But on that note, I think as well, at the same time, you'll start to see the emergence of people doing better things with their money than financing wars. Like, if you look at it, technology has not really advanced that much in the last couple decades. We thought we'd have flying cars and whatnot. So a lot of that innovation and advance through technology that we've had has sort of been siphoned away to people that have a lot of fiat, and they can use that fiat to create more fiat, and they might buy assets, or they might just sit on that and have it grow over time. But they're definitely not investing in new technology. But maybe we'll see Bitcoiners that are self-sovereign invest into technology again and advance the development of our civilization.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe for news and expert predictions direct to your inbox.